Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and we're glad to have y'all with us tonight. And man, have we got a crew in the house with us tonight. I'm telling you, you can't hardly even top this group of guys that we got here. We got Chad, Bryant, Aaron, Churchwell, and guess who else we got? I know y'all don't recognize me. He ain't been back with us in a while. We got Joey Kirby with us tonight. And so glad to have everyone in. And Chad, man, what you got to say for yourself this afternoon?
Man, just glad to be here. I didn't know who that guy in the lower right-hand corner was. I ain't seen him in so long. I had to ask you who he was. How you been, Joey?
I'm better than I deserve, buddy. That's for sure. Been winter time. I slow down a little bit. I don't have a whole lot going on, so I can join about any time now. So,
hey, what about it, Churchwell, man? How you doing?
Oh, not too bad, man. I was relaxing, cleaned the boat out, and getting ready to. Greg's heading up and buying a Tundra, I think this Thursday. And
I seen that.
My back deck and my live well out and put it in his boat, and I'm gonna build a new one for mine.
Yeah.
So getting it prepped.
Oh, I seen that boat he's gonna get. That looks like a nice boat too.
Yeah.
Hey, you done give him the fever on that thing.
I had to remind him, and it still ain't gonna be as fast as mine.
Oh, guys, we have had a good week this week. I know last week me and Joy was out fishing. Aaron, you and Cody was able to fish the Heart of Dixie Trail. That was their what's that? Their classic at the end of the year, their championship or whatever.
Championship.
Yeah, and hey, tell people what place did you come in?
Oh, we took first. That's 2 years in a row that I've won it. So,
hey, Chad, let me tell you this, Chad. So I called him yesterday. I said, hey, man, I looked and see what y'all done pretty good. He said, well, we done all right. I said, what place? And I asked him, I said, well, y'all won first place, didn't you? He said, yeah. I said, well, is there a place higher than first?
Well, and they won big fish, too. So, I mean, what else did the man want?
It was, I'll be honest, man, it was a real struggle, man. We found some fish Wednesday in some shallow water, and I didn't think the colder weather, because it wasn't technically a cold front. There was no barometric pressure change with it. So I didn't think it would affect them much. I thought it'd push them out just a little bit into that, 15-foot range, but I didn't think they'd move very far. And we got in there that morning, and I actually just got done building a clamshell for the boat. So it's got a bimini that snaps down to the windshields now, and we made it probably about 3 miles down the lake, and it started coming apart. I never thought about the zippers on it, the zippers on that hold it to the bimini poles. They started coming undone, and it's flapping everywhere, and we just ran it.
He didn't tell us that he had it trimmed out, running fast as it would run.
Yeah, let's get it back.
I had to get
60-mile an hour
in front of everybody, but we got in there, and the fish were totally gone, and we struggled all morning, and we had a couple really good pull downs from big fish that just didn't hook up. And all week, Cody wanted to fish up in the river. And the last experience I had in the river wasn't good. And we had quite a few boats up there. Chad and them took third in the Isaac Strong up there, and they were fishing up in the river too. But it was a slow bite. I just figured those fish, as cold as the water's got, that they've all started to push back to the lake. And I told Cody, man, if we're going to do it, we better do it now. And we ran from the dam all the way up to Scottsboro. And
that's a heck of a run.
Put 90 miles on the boat, went through a whole 45-gallon tank of gas, and we got up there and pulled up on one structure pile, had a couple bites, nothing hooked up, and we moved to the second one. And Cody hooked up with a 40. He's laying in the net in the floor of the boat. And before we could even get him out of the net, his other rod goes down with a 63. And we weighed in 2 fish on day one and knew we were still in it. And we weighed in 103 pounds with 2 fish. We were sitting in third place. Josh was beating us by 2 ounces. And Chris Parker he had like 108. So he was up almost 5 pounds. And we went right back there and started there, had 2 overs and an under for about 50 pounds in the first 45 minutes, and struggled all day, just barely coaling pounds here and there. And end of the day, we were about to move, try one more spot. And I was like, man, with the wind blowing the way it is, I don't know what you think. Let's just set it out, because by the time we move, we only gonna have 10 minutes, and caught that 43-pound flathead, and there's enough to seal the deal. So
wow.
Congratulations, bud.
And I'm gonna tell you something, Aaron. On days like this past weekend, and when the fishing conditions are really tough, I won't forget. I think Joey, the day we fished the Isaac Strong tournament, and the weather had changed that night. And I won't forget, we were sitting there getting ready to go, and J.R. Hall was already put in, and things had just changed totally, and wind picked up, it was cold, and he said that day, he says, now we fix to see who can catch fish today. And things like that is, hey, it ain't easy. You fixing to have to work for this right here. But I'm going to tell you, I don't know for everybody else, but I take that, man, as a challenge, trying to figure out where they at, and what they do, and trying to just put a pattern together when they're very hard to catch. That says something for whoever you are out there fishing.
Yeah,
anybody can catch them on days when they just tearing it up.
Hey, that's exactly right. I heard one of the tournament anglers say one time he wanted the worst conditions that he could get on tournament day, and he said the reason why, he says, everybody ain't gonna be able to get out here and find them. Everybody can catch them when everybody's catching them,
Yep.
But on things like that, when the conditions turn, I'm telling you, it makes you really work for that.
It was, and we kind of knew going into day two that the big fish had fed the day before, because there was a lot of, 2 fish, bags that were weighed in for 90 pounds, 80 pounds, stuff like that. So there was a lot of 50-pound fish caught. We knew that day two was going to be a little bit of a struggle, and I think when it was all said and done, I think there was only like 3 boats that caught, fish over 40. So yeah, I mean, it was a struggle to get the bigger fish that day. Old Nathan Trammell, he put a good bag in.
Hey, old Nathan and Scott, man, they done really well. They sure did.
They did.
Nathan's always one of them guys, man. If he's there, listen, you got a threat. I'm telling you, because this dude
Don't
right
count
here,
him out.
You can't ever count that guy out.
You can't count him out.
I've watched Nathan. Nathan's local to me, and I've watched Nathan grow over the last few years as an angler himself, man. And he's gonna be somebody to watch out for in the near future.
Hey, he may be at the chiropractor today. I don't know, but I was sitting out there at my shop working, and my phone dinged. I looked at it, and he was going live. And when I turned it on, my back got to hurting just watching it.
Don't let him fool y'all. He was sitting in a seat that he got air ride on it. I know that boat he's in. That room in that seat.
I don't think air ride that day, even where we were all the way up to Scottsboro, and that's where they ended up going. They drove all the way up there on the water. We trailered up there, and we knew that morning it was going to be kind of calm, but we knew throughout the day it was just going to deteriorate. And by the end of the day, every time we were trying to anchor up, and I mean, we were grinding it out. I mean, we were sitting on a spot for 25, 30 minutes and then moving to the next. And every time we would go to anchor up, we'd put the anchor down, and the wind was blowing so hard upriver that we'd have to put the boat in reverse, and it'd start splashing waves over the back and everything. And had to have 2 54-inch drift socks out just to hold us tight on anchor. I mean, I knew when I seen them come up the river that morning, I knew going back was not going to be fun for them. But
hey, I don't know where they was at, but it never is fun when you got a 20-mile or 30-mile ride and you happen to come around one of them bends and hit one of them long straights, and all you can see is white caps. You're like, oh, no.
Yeah, I thought about doing some YouTube for the tournament this weekend, but about 2 hours into the tournament on day one, I was like, I'm not even doing an intro because I think this is going to be a rough day.
Yeah. Hey, guys, this is Jeremy asked this question. You guys think catfish bite better on the fish that are running this time of the year like white bass? I reckon what he's getting at is whatever is running, using that for bait. I know where we at, you can't use white bass for bait.
Yeah.
So in the state of Georgia, we can legally use any fish as long as you catch it by legal methods.
Mm-hmm.
I live by that. In our river system, the lake is actually on the Alabama side, and the river is on the Georgia side. When the white bass are running, that's prime bait right there. When the crappie are running, prime bait right there. We've got an old lock system here from way back in the day that all those fish run up to and spawn. Same thing in the spring when the striper are running. Matching the hatch is on a river system that you can do it in is a very good key to always keep in the back of your head.
Yeah, I don't think
I wish we could do it in Alabama. I really do. I believe that you could have a lot of success with some of those other fish as bait fish at certain times of the year.
Yeah, and you can never go wrong. Just whatever's running, especially on bait fish, be that you go to. Now, I'm up on the Tennessee River. I'm a firm believer in them skipjack, and I really like when they're running.
A lot of people here in Kentucky use
Stacy. I am.
They use they go to shad here in the cold water here. But if I tell everybody if I can't catch them on skipjacks, I'm probably not going to catch them. Shad and like I said, a lot of people here in the wintertime they go to shad. So, yeah. But with all the Asian carp here in the Ohio River and the Green River, it's I can tell you guys this, and a lot of people that's tuned into the show that come down to the tournament here in our area, it's a challenge to go find shad now here. I mean, it's terrible. You can't even. You used to go to inlets, some of the ditches, some of the creek mouths, and get shad were plentiful. Now, you used to see the big clouds of shad in the water, and in the spawning times or and now you just don't. It's tough to find a shad here to use for bait. So,
Joey, do y'all ever use those Asian carp for bait?
Excuse me.
Do you ever use those Asian carp for bait?
Some people do. I had two. The last time I fished, I had two, probably 10 to 12 pounds jump in my boat. And I'm going to tell you right now,
I don't even know where
when they get in your boat, if they're in your boat, whatever they touch is just messy. So I grab them. And a lot of people may not like it, but when I grab them, I slam them as hard as I can slam them on the water and get them out of my boat. So I don't, but a lot of people love using them, but they're just so messy. If I don't catch them on skipjack, I'm just going to be a goose egg day for me. I'll take some pictures of the sunset and come home.
Hey, this guy right here, I don't forget where Mike's from. This is not the Mike from here in Alabama, but Mike Mitchell wants to know, with the weather dropping into the 30s at night, where would you focus fishing, shallow or deeper? And so remember that. And there's also another question, sort of pertaining to the same thing. As it gets colder over the next few weeks, do you guys still fish shallow water?
I want to hear Bobby's take on this because I know what it is.
That'd be Aaron Churchwell right there. He'd tell you all about that shallow water fishing.
Right now in the fall transition, I think those fish aren't quite used to that colder water because that shallow water gets colder faster at night. It also heats up faster during the day. So I think, at night, early in the morning, they shift back down the ledge, back into a little bit deeper water. But as soon as that sun comes up, especially on a mud flat, that mud starts soaking up that sunlight. And it just starts heating up a lot faster. And as soon as you get an hour of sunlight on the mud flats, I think them fish push back up in there. So if you got a sunny day, get up in some of that 4 foot of water and give it a try.
Aaron, do you think that's because the bait fish travel up there and then the catfish follow?
I do. And also, I honestly think I'm starting to believe that catfish look for warmer water. I mean, if you look at the nuke plant on Wheeler, a lot of those fish push to that. One, the bait's there, and two, it's a little bit warmer. I think in the colder months, the bigger fish, they're more apt to move to areas. 1 degree is a lot. to a cold-blooded creature.
It is. And Aaron, I was just having a discussion the other just in the last couple of days with this same thing. Them fish can sense. They live in this environment just like me and you do. And when me and you outside on a cold day, we're looking for sunshine. Because the reason why, because when getting the sunshine, we're going to warm up. Them fish are the same way. And just like Aaron said, there's a reason that nuke plant in the wintertime. That water right there is warmer there than it is anywhere else. And they are attracted to that. And I think the same scenario is on a cold day with the sun out and 3 and 4 or 5 foot of water. That water right there is warmer than that 40-foot water. So I think that's why them fish is doing that. And it makes sense because we, for years, even in the wintertime here where I live, and I know we in southern, further south, but if we waited to 9 or 10 o'clock to go fishing on cold days, we could always get shad in the back of the sloughs in 2 or 3 foot of water. They would be, if you got there early, they're not going to be in there. But you get there a little bit later when the sun comes up, and you can start seeing them pop in the water.
Yep.
Them shad, they would come. They was in there because that water's warming up faster than the other water, that deeper water is.
Yeah, shad die pretty easy, especially your threadfin shad. They die really fast from cold water. So that's why every year you see the shad kills where you get up in colder water and there's dead ones everywhere. Like when we went to Tawakoni for the Cat Masters this year, every fish we caught was throwing up half rotten gizzard shad and all that in the live well. And that's just, they had a big freeze a couple weeks before that and all them fish just died off. So they were in there just gorging themselves on them.
Yeah. Joey, well, me and you happened to get a chance to go off this weekend last week. Tell the people what you end up catching, man.
What you caught a 58 and I caught a 64. Is that correct?
I think it was right. Close enough.
I told some people at work. They said, "Man, how big was that fish?" I said it was 108 pounds, but Stacy was so I can't even remember how big it was, to be honest with you. I do know this. Speaking of what Aaron was just talking about, I know when we released them fish, they wasn't in the live well very long. Stacy pulled out a spine of something that was probably the size of almost the size of a water bottle, and I seen him. I pay pretty close attention to Stacy. He ain't all wired up. He grabbed that spine, and he just grabbed it out of live well and looked at it and just tossed it out, and it was like, man, that could have been who knows what that spine was. I was wanting to check it out, but he was just chucked it out in the water, man. Them fish, like you said, they puke up some crazy stuff.
Yeah. And
fish throwing up grass.
Grass?
Yeah. When I got out there in the boat today and cleaned out the live well and cleaned the floor and everything in the boat and sprayed her all down, and I opened the live well and there's just half digested grass.
Man, you caught a vegetarian.
Like that 63 was, he'd been living in some shallow water somewhere.
Y'all remember back during the Cat Masters, there was 2 or 3 fish caught that were puking up half ducks.
Yeah. Stacy and I were talking about that this weekend. Hey, I want to ask y'all, I know Stacy and I, another question, or Stacy and I, a conversation we had. I know yours, Chad, yours was yours and Stacy's, and my personal best fish were Aaron, where'd you catch your personal best fish? Was it in some still water or moving or some moving water?
It was in about 3.5 mile per hour current on the Mississippi, and we were on anchor.
I would like to do a poll. I would like to do a poll of the people's personal best. I'm a firm believer. I've told people here around my area and them tournaments and stuff around here, man, if you're not up by them dams within 2 or 3 or 4 miles of some moving water, to me, that's where best chances of catching a monster fish is in some moving water.
Hey, let me throw this in here. So Cody Howard just tuned in. He said he saw him throw up ducks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they actively feed on ducks.
But those ducks are diving on the bait, and the fish are coming up on the bait at the same time.
Well, also, if you think about this, usually in the wintertime, early morning, there's like a haze across the water, right? And a lot of times, blast off is right before it gets light, right? How many times you hit them little coots?
Yeah,
I ran them little coots over tons of times. And before you know it, you're in the middle of a school of them. You done ran over 50 of them. I mean, I think that's where they get them from.
oh.
Yeah.
You know, bass boat, same way. Bass boat's a lot faster than a catfish boat.
Well, Aaron, I'm gonna go to some of your honey holes. I think it'd be like a big old bass. If one of them ducks if one of those, whatever y'all call them, water turkeys, whatever they're called, if one of them suckers is in 2 or 3 foot of water and a 60-pound catfish is lurking through there, he's in trouble.
He's in trouble.
I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see that.
I mean, that's I just feel like it'd be like a top water, buzz bait or something coming across there. If a great big old catfish can get him, it's all over.
Stacy, next time y'all come down, Joey's gonna be throwing the net up in the air.
Hey, I'll tell you where to catch pigeons.
I know where to catch some pigeons.
You know when you pull up to the nuke plant, you got the 4
Towers.
poles. You got the 4 poles over here, and you got the tower over here.
Yeah, they're always under them towers.
Pull up to that tower, tie up to it, and grab the dip net out and shove it up in those holes up underneath there.
Hey, Joey, back to your question earlier on that moving water, and that is something that I like to fish.
Yeah,
I really like to. And I do a lot of different techniques, but when I'm given the opportunity, and some people don't, I've just caught my biggest fish and big fish, not my biggest, but the big fish. The majority of them, that anchor rope has been out.
yeah. Stacy,
Anchor rope has been out.
Fellas, I like to put it in perspective. If you have to work, it's probably better than just lounging around. So if you're up there if you're with Stacy anchor fishing, eat breakfast. Eat breakfast and probably wear a back brace, because especially here lately, he just wears you out. We'll set at a spot and he'll say, we're giving him 20 minutes. I'll say, good. I'm going to rest my back. In 5 minutes, he looks over and he says, I'm about done with this. Let's go. Stacy, we still got 20 minutes. So
now we got to move on.
And
Joey, he don't still have those 200-pound zip ties.
Moving water.
Hey, I noticed something, Stacy. You done went up and found you a little bit current, and you done yanked that bumping rod out a couple times, didn't you? You hung on it now, ain't you?
Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now. So
Hey, I went by Stacy's house Saturday and I saw that bumping reel he's got. And I'm gonna tell y'all right now, that thing's bad to the bone.
Man, you know what, Aaron? The only thing I really hate right now, which I like this time of the year for trophy catfish and fishing with them big boys, but I'm like, man, I wish it was back summertime. I'd go back up there and anchor down right behind that dam and bump right down through there. I don't know how it would do during the dead wintertime, but man, I love that.
I don't know. I've never done it below the dams in the wintertime.
I know I figured it would slow down, but man, that bumping. Aaron, I had one on.
Goes down in the wintertime.
Yeah, and I'd rather have my bait sitting still when that water's colder, But there ain't nothing like, man, bumping that thing around.
Good.
I'm telling you, boy. Oh, hey, I had that thing free lining. I had my thumb on the thing, and he went to popping it over, and I reached up there and slapped that old rock, locked it in, and he got over there so far, I nailed him. I love that right there.
Wait till you get into a big boy. You get that big boy, you ain't got time to close that reel, and the only thing you're thinking about is stopping that spool with that thumb, and it's just eating the skin off.
Oh,
Hey, somebody asked you if we had a favorite knife to cut up skipjack with.
I use just a regular old bait knife. That's what I call them. You buy them at Walmart or Bass Pro Shop. The blade on is probably about 4 or 5 inches long. That's what I use.
I know one thing. They
bite
make these little butter knife or bread knife looking ones.
Yeah.
Them jokers work.
We
good.
do have a bubble blade, and it works really good.
Chad's got a dang sword in there,
Just
but
bite them.
It's about a 12-inch bubble blade. It'll get the job done.
he pulls that thing out, and you got to run to the front of the boat if he's waving it around.
Chris Parker said he'd use a Dexter knives.
I ain't never heard of them.
Hey, Ronnie Sprayberry's in here in chat, Bobby.
Is he? He's
Yeah, he said he was going to catch him a state record when he gets well.
Yeah, same where he's having open heart surgery in the morning.
Yep.
Be prayers out to that fella.
Yep. By what he explained to me, I think he had a stent a couple years back, and I guess it's not doing what it's supposed to. So they got to go in and get it all taken care of. He said, I don't like eating vegetables. I guess I got to start doing it, though.
Yeah.
Ronnie, I'll bring you some of that grass from Gunnersville. Them catfish eat it.
Oh. Now, you know what? We went Saturday. Me and Joel, we went fishing. We got there Thursday. We fished Thursday, Friday, Wednesday night, Thursday and Friday. Went out Wednesday night. We went and drug some baits. We didn't put a fish in the boat Wednesday night. So we changed and we done something else. That's when we went down to a different body of water. And because the wind was going to be up, want to do a little bit of something different. And we did. I will say this. I give Joey a workout. I felt sorry for him a time or two. Pulling that anchor up.
Yeah.
Well, not really, but but you know what we did? You can start to set patterns. And what we done, we caught a pile of fish that Thursday. And we noticed when we got there and we was on anchor the first time, within 10 minutes, bam, bam, bam. And we sat there a little while later and didn't catch nothing. We moved to this next spot. We maybe sat that first place 30 minutes or so, it seemed like. And after the first 15, we didn't catch another fish. And we moved to the second spot, and the same thing happened. And I told Joey then, every 20 minutes, we moving.
You done wasted 20 minutes sitting there.
We pull up within the first 10 minutes. Bam, bam. We sit there another 10 minutes, pull the anchor up, let's go. And we just hitting them spots. And
that's what we had to do Sunday too.
Yeah. I think sometimes, you know, when you get a pattern, I don't know if them fish is there just ready to feed, and when you get there, you put a bait out. If you're not careful, you can waste a lot of time just sitting there waiting for the other bite when it's not going to happen.
Yep. Put them on the clock. Put as soon as you sit down there, put them on the clock. Half hour or so. If nothing happens, get it.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, Aaron, and I feel like y'all probably do the same thing. When I'm out looking for fish, I'm gonna start at a certain depth. I may just randomly say, hey, we fix to start out looking 15 to 20 foot, you know. And when I pull out there and fish a spot or two and we don't catch nothing at this depth or we don't see nothing, I'm moving my depth range up to I'm looking for a different depth now. Yeah. And I'm looking for a depth level that I can find these fish in. I don't know how everybody else does it, but I think when you're out looking for them, try to pay close attention to your water depth. I will tell this, that on your hummingbird, you can set this thing that if we was going to fish water from 10 to 20 foot deep, I can reach up on my graph. I can sit 10 shallow, 20 foot on the deeper end, and everything between 10 and 20 is going to light up green. Yep. And I may look for them areas. And if I don't see nothing, don't catch nothing, I'm going to move from 20 to 30 or 35 foot and go to looking. And you're going to soon find out within a couple of hours, you can form a pattern. Hey, these fish are in this depth of water. And I'm going to set my graph to that depth of water, give or take 5 foot, you know.
Yep.
And I'm like, this is where we fixing to start hitting that. We fixing to start popping these places just like this right here, looking for these fish. And you'll find out, hey, this is where they at. And that may not be the same thing every day. It's just figuring that right there depth out where these fish is at. And it's going to help you put a whole lot more fish in the boat.
I think to be really successful in this, every day it's a puzzle. And every day, every spot that you fish, every tactic that you use is all pieces of that puzzle. So day one, we started out dragging, didn't have no luck. We, fished shallow. We went and looked at some mid-range, didn't see anything. Went and found structure in deep water, had a couple good takedowns, but no committing. They didn't commit to it. And we kind of picked up right then and there that, they weren't wanting small baits. They wanted big baits, but they didn't want to fully commit to it. And I do not have any confidence in a double hook rig. I've lost so many big fish because of a double hook rig, and I don't like them. Cody, I think, feels the same way. My thoughts are if I'm putting half a skipjack out there and he grabs it and he don't grab all of it, the big man upstairs just didn't want it to happen.
Yeah.
But, we fished all these different ranges and everything, and then we ran about halfway up the lake, and we pulled up on some structure right on a ledge and started getting bites, and good bites. Just still weren't hooking up with it. And so then we kind of knew, hey, structure is what we need to be targeted. And we ran up another 20 miles up the river and pulled up on a structure pile, got some bites again, still didn't get no hookups. And then we kind of downsized that big bait just a little bit, still big profile, but just not as big. And that's when Cody caught them too. And so we already had a basis for what those fish were doing, and we didn't think that they were going to, change a lot the next morning. And so we went right back to starting that the next morning. And right then and there, them fish were kind of cruising. They weren't tight to the structure that morning. They were right out off of it. And I think I caught like the first 2 or 3 that morning right out off the timber. And it was probably 10 o'clock. We done made some moves, fishing some different sections of the river, and we noticed there was no bite at all. We're fishing the same stuff, just no action, no dink bites, no nothing. And so we went right back to that same stretch where we knew the fish were feeding earlier, get just another piece of the puzzle that we picked up on the way. And we started out at the very top of that stretch, and every time we seen a structure pile, we anchored up on it. And then we started catching fish. And every fish the rest of that day was right where that ledge met the bottom of the river channel where the timber was.
Yeah.
Every fish. So it was like that morning they were out kind of cruising. And then as the sun came up, instead of those fish, continuing to feed or whatever, they hunkered down in that structure.
Yeah.
So if you can just kind of put those pieces together while you're out there fishing, it'll make for a lot better day.
It does. Hey, Aaron, what do you consider mid-range and deep water? So Cody Howard want to know this.
Mid-range is probably 30. Deep is probably 50 for me.
Yeah.
So,
And I would think that would depend. Aaron, does that depend on what kind of water is in that body of water that you're fishing? I mean, if you're fishing a lake that's only 30 feet deep, that's the deep water on that lake.
Yeah, I mean, but I still consider that mid-range. I mean, it's barometric pressure is not going to have as much of effect in 30 foot of water as it is in 50 foot of water. So you're still those fish in that 30 foot are still going to, they're going to uphold a lot of different barometric changes a lot better than a fish that's in 50 to 90 foot,
Churchwell's deep water's 10 foot.
At certain times of the year, it is.
Hey, guys, y'all remind me of this. I would love to see if we can't get Cody Howard on here with us one night. Guys, if y'all don't know this guy, man, he
Cody's
catches
good dude.
fish.
He is.
And he's a good guy.
Yeah.
And too.
Cody, we need to see if we can't get y'all lined up and get you on here one night with us. Joel, what else you got for us, man?
Tony Ramsey just asked if my boat was for sale. Tony, I'll tell you, like I tell anybody else, I got a beautiful little grandbaby. I got 3 boys. And I got a beautiful wife. None of them's for sale. Anything else that I have other than that is for sale. So, Yeah, it's for sale, but it's not. I got a fella that's interested in it that's supposed to let me know something tomorrow. But if it doesn't sell, it's fine with me. But it is for sale. Stacy, other than that, man, I just like I said, you know what I've been doing. To let everybody else know what I've been doing, I umpire some softball, I play some softball in the summertime. The summertime, I stay at it. The wintertime is basketball season for me and fishing. So anytime that Stacy needs a hand on the show on Tuesday nights, or if he wants me to be here every Tuesday night, then I'm game. It's not fair to put Stacy, put him out like I did, but I just in the summertime, man, I'm a busy fella. I got a new baby granddaughter and still working, but other than that, I'm still losing a little bit of weight, but I'm still just as silly as I've always been.
Joe, you stick with me on these fishing trips with them little Debbie cakes and that grill, like I'm gonna put some weight back on you.
Well, I'm to the point now, Stacy. I don't. I walk every night. I walk about 20,000 steps a day. It's usually my goal, whether I'm working or whether I'm off. But I eat anything. The eating part of it, I'm over. I did that for about 6 months. Now I'll sit down and I'll eat a whole pizza. I'll eat a whole box of little Debbie cakes, and you're lucky you just offered me one at a time. I probably would have took you up for 2 or 3. But
well, I figured that's why I ration them out to you.
but no, it's all is well. I miss getting on here chatting with everybody, but I may not tune in on Tuesday nights at 7:00. But Wednesday mornings or Wednesday afternoons or something, I catch up, and I still see everybody. I enjoy it.
Hey, let me throw this out here. I think this is a good question, because a lot of people, I want y'all to, when you answer this, I know what I do. But people that are just trying to figure out what do we do on certain days when it's cold or when it's hot. Does water temperature determine what depth you go looking for the fish?
It used to, until I met Aaron Churchwell.
Water depth actually still plays a big part in it. Once you get into those, temperature ranges, I think it doesn't affect them over a long period of time. So, when you're halfway through winter and water temp's 40 degrees and it's been there for a couple months, I don't think it really affects them as much. I think your barometric actually affects them more than the temperature. I still think they're going to look for warmer water whenever they can. But like in the summertime when it's 80 something degree water temperature, I'm going deep. That deeper water is going to hold cooler temperatures for a lot longer, and cooler water holds more oxygen. So
moving water.
Yep. Yeah. Moving water is always good. And I'm gonna answer. I'm gonna throw my 2 cents worth on this. If I'm anchor fishing, if the lake offers this to me, if it doesn't offer it to me, then I do something different. But if it offers something to me between the 25 and 35, 40 foot range, that's where I'm going. That is my first steps right there. As I'm looking, that's where I start at. Now, if it don't offer it to me, the day we was fishing and probably 30 foot was a deep place. And so most of it, I'm like, we're just going to start with the deepest water we can find. Really, we couldn't find much over 25 foot. And
down there,
hey, I just started looking for structure then. I'm like, hey, this is what's here. And we're just looking for structure. And I'm going to tell you something that is a really go-to for me when I'm looking for structure. Matter of fact, me and Joey pulled up, and I said, we're going to just get on this bank over here. I'm throwing side scan on, and the first tops we get to, we're going to anchor on them and see what's there. And that's what we done. A really plus is when you can find some structure and some rocks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, I am a rock. If there's rocks there, I've always had good success around rocks and stuff. I don't look for fish. I don't try to mark none. I'm just looking for one thing, structure of some sort, and we're going to start from there, and we're just going to go with it. And
if Stacy don't catch fish, he's going to catch them rocks.
I'll tell you a good strategy if you're looking for fish and kind of struggling. If you can find you a ledge, where you can spread some boards out and you can cover some really, really deep water, and you can run a couple of boards up on that little flat, and you can cover a lot of different depths with one drag and kind of dial them in.
That's my preference is ledges. And Stacy, I mean, for a lot of people that are watching, Stacy, I usually didn't do what Stacy does, but when he's talking about structure, guys, don't go down the bank line looking for a forest. Stacy will throw the anchor up on a limb, and I'm not being sarcastic. If he sees something on that side scan, matter of fact, our first trip to Guntersville, 20 minutes in, we threw the anchor up on some stuff that just, looked like maybe a bush. It wasn't hardly nothing at all, and he pulled a 60-pounder out of it. We'd never even fished that body of water. So don't spend a whole lot of time going looking for the gnarliest stuff. Some of that little stuff, like Churchwell was talking about earlier. Any crappie fisherman here in Kentucky, you can't use that stuff for bait here in Kentucky either. But any crappie fisherman, when they go crappie fishing, they're looking for a bush. So it don't have to be something extreme. It could be the size of a little Christmas tree, is what a lot of people, crappie fishermen, throw out. When you find that stuff, that's where them bait's holding, and that's why them big old fish are in there. So it's nothing extreme when he says look for structure. It could be something that just something something that's there by itself.
See, a lot of people don't realize though that on your side imaging, that side imaging may pick out one major profile of whatever's there. And you may see a limb coming up off the bottom, 6-8 foot. If you actually go over there and you down scan it and you go right over the top of it, it's not just one limb. There's a whole bunch of it, but that side imaging a lot of times can't really pick apart all that different stuff because it's showing all these hot returns all right on top of each other. Go over it with your side imaging and you'll be surprised about how much timber is actually there.
And another thing,
the rest of it just starts stacking on.
Yeah. Another thing with that structure, if you'll just watch fish, just put fish in your live well and throw something in one end of it that's 3 or 4 inches or whatever. Them fish
are going to go.
Yep.
Them fish is going to go. I'm just your air stone on one end, nothing else. You know where them fish are going to be at? Around that stone down there. They're looking for something, so it doesn't take a whole lot. And I've always thought that in current, he's looking for something just to get behind. He can just pop in behind it and sit right there, and it produces a shield for him that he can stay out of that current a little bit. But that structure stuff, man, guys, I'm telling y'all, don't underestimate it. And don't worry about looking for fish and trying to find fish on it. Just look for that structure. Them fish can hide in there and you'll never find them. I've seen guys, I don't know if y'all have heard this, and I don't know if y'all experienced this, and maybe it's just what I do. But people ask me, did you mark that fish? I'm like, man, I didn't even see a fish. But I seen this structure and I seen this right here there, and I figured there would be a good chance there was going to be one laying there.
Yep.
And some people will say, well, I didn't fish it. I didn't see nothing there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, well, man, you missed out because them fish is in there. They hard to see in that structure.
Hey,
when we fished,
like I said earlier, give it 20 minutes.
Hey, what's going to hurt? You done fish half
usually,
a
like you said, if you throw in that structure normally, if you're pretty close, I'll tell you another thing that I do too, and it works. When you throw out that first 5 minutes, if nothing happens and you're around structure, give that thing a few little cranks. And if you feel that structure stop, I mean, move your baits 4 or 5 foot. It works.
I call that fluffing the bait.
Yeah. It works.
Hey, if I can get enough current, I'm gonna bounce back. I'm gonna bounce it back in there.
Right, I want to make you, brother.
Larry said, when anchoring on structure, do you guys recommend no rolls or bobby weights? I don't use no rolls. I use flat banks. No rolls are perfectly fine. Any sinker you want to use is perfectly fine. With no no current, I don't see anything wrong with using the bobby weight. But when you have current and you're sitting there on a structure pile, when I throw that rod where I want it and it goes to the bottom, I want it to stay there. So, on the Tennessee River, the only thing I throw up there is 8 ounce. And a lot of guys are like, well, I mean, even here on the Coosa, you throw an 8 ounce. Well, on the Coosa, if I bomb one out in the middle of the channel and we got half a mile of current, I want it to stay out there. But when you stagger those baits in front of that structure pile, you want to make sure that they stay there. You don't want them all washing together. So using the correct, weight size is also key to that too. Because if you can't get it to stay where you
Did we lose
Did
Bobby?
freeze up? There he is. You froze up on us a minute, bud.
What'd y'all catch?
Hey, Bobby, and I like the flat bank sinkers, some kind of flat sinker. And my thoughts is with this flat sinker, like yours, I want it to stay put. And even if it does, if it's more current that it tries to pull it around, that weight is trying to slow it down. It ain't just that current is not just going to sweep it right back around behind the boat.
Yep.
I like the flat bank sinkers is what I like. If you go with a round egg sinker, you're going to throw that thing out before you get it locked down and move it behind the boat over there.
Hey, and I'll tell you this much. I might be an outcast on it, but I used to use nothing but 8 ounce egg sinkers till I met Dale, and he started helping me out a little bit on all the other types of sinkers. But I used to use a big egg sinker when I dam fished, and it was a lot of commotion. You'd throw it out, and like Stacy said, it would, but it's, to me, it's going to flush at just like it's flushing baits. If a bait was down there on the bottom, moving around and stuff, that's where your baits, your egg sinker, and I'm talking about crazy 80 plus foot of water on ledges and crazy stuff. And sitting here thinking back, man, I used to smoke some big old fish, but it was hectic when Stacy said, when you get a Quandarius, when you reel it up and it looked like a pile of grass and you got line everywhere. But I'm telling you, man, in these dam areas, and you throw that bait out there and it's moving around and stuff, you better hang on, because if you can keep it from getting hung up, you're gonna get down there amongst them.
Now, so I'm like Joey. I fish with a lot of cannonballs, especially river fishing. I will throw that dude, and I'll throw them out on the sides and just wait for them to kind of bounce back, and they'll find their sweet spot, and they'll either hang there or they'll get bit. When one starts rolling around a little bit on bottom, I'm like, you better watch that rod. It's fixing to go.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of, I don't fish with a big piece of, I don't fish with 8 ounces. I fish with 4 or 5s mostly.
Yeah.
I want the current to be able to, I'll throw out to the middle.
Yeah.
And I want the current to be able to pull it around slowly, and it's going to settle in a spot.
It's going to find that sweet spot.
That's what I call it. It's done. Found the sweet spot. Leave it right there.
Yeah.
And I feel like the bait that's naturally flowing is kind of going to follow that same path.
It all depends on what you fish. Like you say, stay. All of us fish different, pretty much. Different types of water. And I know a lot of stuff that I do here on the Ohio River or Green River, and is not the style that I've learned in Alabama fishing. And it's but I'm telling you, if you come down here, I told people when they come down here for this tournament, I told Chad got a hold of me for his buddy Scott. I said, man, I'm telling you, if you're fishing here, go to one of them dams. It's just, and you know, if you're fishing in Alabama, that moving water, I really gotten fond of it as well there. Stacy and I fished Pickwick this last trip and went way down and found some deeper water, done well, fished in 20 foot of water all along the bank lines. And you just, I love going and you know, all them different places, it's different techniques. And, you know, Churchwell's one of them. He can go out here to a Walmart parking lot and catch one over there by the gutter. So he really is excluded from this conversation, but I'm man, and adapting to that stuff. Like he said, it's a puzzle. And each time you go and adapt to something new, it's, you know, it's Stacy and I, every time we go, it's something else. You know, think, man, we tried that and you know, we tried a different technique this last trip, you know, and it's think outside the box and don't always do the same thing, you know.
Yeah, where I'm fishing depends on what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
If y'all like me, hey, I'm telling you, when I go out there fishing, I want to go catch a fish, and I'm like, man, I can't let them jokers whoop me today.
If anything, I think the biggest key that somebody can learn from any of us is, you know, find what's comfortable to you. You know, I am just dead set on dragging 90% of the time. That's just my comfort zone. That's what I want to do. I mean, I know how to anchor fish. I know how to fish structure. I know how to do all that stuff. I know how to bump. Do you prefer that just because you cover so much more water? Yes. Yeah. My preference. Yeah. You know, everybody has their own preference, you know, and there's no right way, there's no wrong way to do it. You know, it's, for instance, you know, we'll take Stacy's big fish hole down there on Wilson. Stacy could tell you right where it is. You could go fish it and not catch any fish. Yep. It's not that there aren't fish there. He's dialed in how those fish move through there. I fished it. I don't go down there and catch 100-pound fish, but he's got it dialed in. He knows exactly how those fish are moving through there. He knows how to set the boat up. He knows what rig to use there. You know, you have people all the time, man, where should I fish on this lake? What should I do on this lake? It doesn't matter the experience that all four of us have. It's still not going to help you. You know, I can tell you, hey, go drag this ledge or go anchor up on this piece of timber. You know, just because I tell you where that, and you may be fishing up in front of it. You know, it's all what you find and what you do with what you learn and what you find in here.
Yeah, you put all four of us together, fish the same lake, the same day, in the same conditions, and we're all going to attack it different. None of us are going to do it the same.
And I think that's where, you know, if you talk to people who fish, whether it's catfish, bass fishing, or whatever it is, one of the key things, and this is what I always try to stress, is you've got to have confidence in what you're doing.
That's right.
If you got confidence in what you're doing, and Bob is right, I can tell you, hey, go down here. This is where I catch them at. You're going to go there and sit about 30 minutes, ain't going to get a bite, and you're going to say, we got to move my hand. Ain't no fish here. When I'm going to go there and I'm going to say, I've got confidence that they're here. An hour and a half later, I'm still sitting there.
Yep.
It's because your confidence in what you're doing, you're going to stick to a process of what you've been doing. You're going to stick to a place, or you're going to stick to a plan of what you have figured out with fishing, and you're going to just stick to that. And the longer you stick to it, being persistent with it, the confidence is the issue, is the deal.
And I believe if you can get other fishermen on your boat, fish with as many people as you can fish with, because you'll learn a lot.
Just don't show them your secret spots.
You know, I fished with Stacy, I fished with Aaron, I hadn't got to fish with Joey yet. But you know,
I just sat there and watched. I don't.
You know,
hey, I'm gonna tell you a little something about Stacy. I'm blessed to fish with Stacy. Aaron's fished with him. Chad, you fished with him, and I sat there and soak it in every time. He's always talking to the Lord. And I'm going to tell you, this is the truth. The other day, we always pray, and he'd say, Lord, bless us with some fish today. Thursday, we caught a live well full of fish. Friday, you know what he was asking the Lord to do?
Bless us with a big one.
Bless us with 2 50-plus pounders. Hey, I caught a 64-pounder, and he caught a 58-pounder, and that's the truth. He said, Lord, we filled the live well up yesterday. We caught released 14 fish for the cameras. Friday, he said, Lord, bless us with 2 50-plus pounders. Hey. He should have asked for 90-plus pounders, but he didn't.
He didn't want to be greedy.
That's the favor from the Lord.
Always have you rolling in that boat.
Oh, man.
I'm going to get him to tell y'all the alligator story one time. Sometime.
I'm going to tell it. Well, I tell it one time. Well, I tell it in a couple of weeks from now. I sure will.
Hey, somebody knows me because they commented something in here about drinking Dr. Peppers.
That man's blood is made out of Dr. Pepper.
Hey, if Chad gets on your boat, them 12 packs, they come in a little box. That's what he's going to bring with him. A whole 12 pack of them Dr. Pepper.
I don't get on a boat with just a 12 pack.
Hey,
most time I made an 18 or a 24.
I don't drink Cokes, and I drink Sprite or drink coffee or drink water. So on my way down Wednesday night, I think it was, whatever night I got there fishing, I stopped and got me a little small pizza from Little Caesars, and you get a drink with it. And I looked over there, and there was a Dr. Pepper. So first thing that popped in my mind was Chad Bryant. So I grabbed that Dr. Pepper, put it in the truck, took a screenshot of it, and said, I'm thinking about you, buddy, and sent a picture of a big old 20-ounce Dr. Pepper. And I think I was wired up. I felt like that kid on the Spider Monkey on whatever that show was, drinking what was all wired up with Mountain Dew. I was fired up after drinking that Dr. Pepper.
Hey, like Scott Childress is in with us. He said a 12 pack won't last you lunchtime.
Ain't that the truth? Casey, how many did he drink that day out there on the boat with us?
Listen, it's nonstop.
And in fact, that morning he actually didn't drink. No, that was when we fished.
No, that was when we fished Bama Blues.
So we get like 9 o'clock in the morning. We got one little 20-pound fish in the boat. And I look over and I'm like,
I was drinking water. I was trying to do good, Bobby.
How many Dr. Peppers you drank today? You said none. I said, that's why we ain't catching fish. You better start drinking Dr. Peppers.
Oh, yeah. Well, guys, we're fixing to get ready to jump off of here. Chad, you got anything you want to say before we jump off, man?
Man, just thank everybody for tuning in. It was good seeing Joey back in here. Had a great time, man. Just in here talking.
Yeah, enjoyed it. Joey, what you got, man? Anything you want to say before we jump off of here?
2 more days at work this week. Gun season is in here in Kentucky, and so maybe Friday and Saturday I may get the old 7mm mag out and go deer hunting. I might. A lot of people's been telling me deer liver works, so I might get me some deer liver and try it.
Hey, that ain't true, Mick. That ain't true.
Hey, Mick's so far away out there, man. I can't.
Hey, I want to throw a huge congrats out there to Mick. Mick
Yes.
and Daniel won Texoma for the 2nd year in a row now.
Yeah. Hey, congratulations, Mick. Mick's a great fisherman. He was the last year's Cat Masters points champion.
Yep.
Hey, good to see you, Mick. Him and Daniel won this one the other day out there. That was at Texoma?
Yep. They won it there last year, too.
Well, good deal. Congratulations, Mick.
Hey, before you get off here, you got that little SDC thing running?
I do.
Pull up a winner. We'll give away a pack of bobby weights. Your choice, your color. You better get that SDC in there real quick, guys.
I got one right here. I'm fixing to pop the name up. Gilbert Hayes. Gilbert, if you would, you contact Aaron Churchwell. Aaron's going to make sure he sends you something. If you don't have his contact, you can send me a message on Messenger. send me your address, and I will get that to him. But if you got him on Facebook, just send him a message. Gilbert Hayes. Thank y'all. Guys, we're fixing to jump off of here. I want to thank y'all for tuning in with us tonight. I know somebody made mention a while ago about Ronnie Sprayberry was having some kind of heart surgery. I want y'all to continue to pray for him. Pray for Miss Paula Smith. She's going through some tough situations in her life. Continue to lift him up in prayer. Hey, God bless y'all. Y'all have a great week this week. And remember, Thanksgiving is coming up next week. So thankful for everything that the Lord has done for us. And don't forget to remember all the things that he's done for you in your life. God bless y'all. Y'all have a great week. Hey, may have this same crew back with us next week. We'll try to get Cody Howard in with us here this next week. God bless y'all, and we'll see y'all later.
Thank y'all.